Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. Today I'm going to show you how to make a reading pillow. This is a really cute one. It's made with dinosaur fabric. I'm going to give this to one of the grandkids. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to work out what size fabric you need to cut for any size cushion. So this is an 18-inch cushion. We're going to be working with a size suitable for this. But at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a couple of size options so that you can actually do this with, say, a 16-inch cushion, or you can make a rectangular one as well. So I'll have some formulas there for you to work out how to work all of that out. Stick around and I'll show you how to put this reading pillow together. Okay, here are the things that we need. I have a cushion here, and this is one that Chris and I picked up in a deal recently when we cleaned out a shed and we're trying to sell it. I've brought it home. I've decided I'm going to actually reuse this one. You can make this book pillow in any size at all. I'm going to show you now how to go about measuring it and working out what size fabric you need. This pillow here, or the cushion inserts when you buy them, this one here from the side seam here to the other side seam measures 18 inches or 46 centimetres. And being square, it's going to be the same on all four sides. So we've got an 18-inch square cushion or cushion insert, and I have a piece of pallin here. It's just a lightweight fusible pallin. This is 18 inches wide by 8.5 inches high. That's going to be for the pocket. I have a 10-inch by 5-inch strip of fabric, which I'm going to use for the handle. So it's 10 by 5. I've got this piece of fabric here. I've already cut it to 19 inches wide. Now my cushion is 18 inches. I want to have my fabric at least half an inch bigger all the way around. I'm going to have 1/2 inch seam allowance. So being an 18-inch cushion, I want a 19-inch pillow cover. This piece of fabric is 43 inches from selvage to selvage. And I'm going to use every scrap of this fabric to be able to make the pillow cover. The front will be plain and it'll have a dinosaur pocket on it, and the back will have a couple of dinosaur panels. There's only just enough fabric for me to get out of this what I need. I'm going to keep it whole just for the time being. So we want a 43-inch piece. For the fold over at the back, we want two pieces that are 12 inches by 19 inches. So I'm going to go 19 inches wide because this is a directional fabric, and then have my fabric 12 inches high. And then that way the directional fabric can sit over the top of each other and overlap. And for the front of the pillow, I've got cut out at the moment just over 20 inches square. I've also got a piece of fusible pallin, just a really lightweight pallin. I've fused that to the back of my fabric. I'm going to go and quilt this. Once I've quilted it, I'm going to cut this down to 19 inches. So again, my cushion being 18 inches, we want this to be 19 inches once it's been finished quilting. And because I've got one piece of fabric here that I want to use for my pocket as well as the overlap, I'm going to get the most out of this that I possibly can. So for my pocket, just fold the fabric in half. So you'll have a dinosaur on the front and the back will be folded over. You can use two separate pieces of fabric if you don't want to waste the print. Again, this is directional. You want to make sure you have 19 inches going this way, and then you determine the height of the pocket that you want to have. It's probably going to be just under halfway because you want your book to sit in there. It depends on the size of the child's book. We probably want about half of the distance of the entire cushion, this one being an 18-inch cushion. We want a 9-inch pocket. So let's go with 18 inches in height overall. So we've got 19 inches wide by 18 inches high. I'll just cut that fabric. So after I've cut that entire length of fabric, I've got this piece here, which is 19 inches wide and 18 inches high. When I fold this in half, I've cut this intentionally so that I can get all the dinosaur writing and the little dinosaur pictures as the feature on the front of my pillow. That will be the pocket at the front, and we can take this piece of batting and fuse that to half of this piece of fabric. So just fold that in half, and you can see I'm actually using my selvage as well because I've got a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That's going to be taken up in the seam and nobody will see that it's there. place my batting over the top there, line it up on the fold, and I'll fuse that onto the fabric. This will be the back of my pocket and that will be the front of my pocket. So I'll go and fuse that in a minute. We don't need to sew it at this stage. And the other two pieces are 19 inches wide by 12.5 inches in height. And for these pieces on the back, all we need to do is determine which way we want it meeting in the middle and do a couple of folds. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch fold, and I'm going to have my dinosaurs overlapping like this. That way, this part here that's a little bit boring, that can sit underneath. I think that will look good. So what I'm going to do here is fold this edge up by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do that twice. So you just fold it over. You can eyeball this. You don't have to go and measure exactly 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch because we've allowed so much fabric for the fold over. So that's one folded section, and this is the section that I'm going to have sitting on the top. This is the section I'm going to have sitting underneath. So we need to fold this up as well. So we'll fold that up 1/2 inch. So I've got this folded up twice and this edge folded up twice. And this is how it's going to look when it's on the back of the cushion. What we can do here is take this to the machine and we're going to sew all the way down that edge there and all the way down this edge here. We're also going to take our handle fabric. We've got 10 inches by 5 inches, fold it in half, and then bring the raw edges into the center. And I'm just using a scrap piece of the dinosaur fabric. I'm not stabilizing it. It's only going to be a handle for the book bag or book pillow. So there's not really going to be that much weight in it. I don't think it needs to have any stabilizer. So I've clipped those edges together. I'm going to sew down both long edges on this one. And I will also fuse this piece of pellin onto half the pocket fabric. And I'm going to do a narrow top stitch all the way along the top edge there as well. And this piece of fabric, I'm going to just do some diagonal lines and I'll quilt it. So I've gone and drawn in some diagonal lines in both directions. They're 5 inches apart. I don't want to quilt this heavily. It's really only so that I can actually stabilize this more securely and just give it a little bit more interest. And the reason why we're using a stabilizer on one side of the pillow, when we put the pocket onto the front here, it gives the fabric more strength when we actually sew our pocket down. You may want to put 2 pockets on here. So if you did that without any batting behind there, there's not enough stability in the fabric. So I'm going to go and quilt this. When I quilt it, I'm going to have a really long stitch length, and I'll reduce the foot pressure on my machine. If you've got a walking foot, then that will come in really handy as well. I've increased my stitch length from 2.5 all the way up to 4. I want to have a really nice long length without it dragging the fabric on the pellin. And it really doesn't matter where you start, but I do like to start on one of the center lines. And then I like to work my way out. Then I'll just find the next line, do that one, and then work my way out, and then come back to the other side and do the same. Then I'll turn my work around and repeat. This is the pocket piece. I've fused the batting to the inside, and I've got both wrong sides facing with the batting on the inside, and I'm just going to do a narrow top stitch along the top folded edge. Don't forget when you're finished quilting your front piece to reduce your stitch length. I forgot to do that with this. It's going to look just as nice with that longer stitch length, but change it back for the rest of your sewing. Next up is the handle. I'm going to stitch down both long edges of this strip. And the last thing we have to do now is sew down the folded edge of both of the back pieces. Okay, we've got all of our bits sewn up. This is the handle, that's already one of the back pieces, and the other back piece with the hem folded over on both pieces. And then this is the pocket piece with the top stitching, and this is the front of the pillow that's been quilted. So there's your quilting lines on the back there. It's all nice and secure, and I've trimmed this piece down to 19 inches. So again, that's 1 inch bigger than the finished size of the pillow or cushion. We're going to take the pocket piece, and we've got the folded edge or the top stitched edge at the top here, and place that along the bottom edge of your 19-inch square. So just line that up along the bottom edge. And what am I hearing? You guys are telling me it's the wrong way around, isn't it? The dinosaurs are upside down. I'm using the wrong side. So let's just turn this around, and thank you for letting me know. You know, if it's not me putting zips in the wrong way or forgetting to open them up, it's putting things upside down. Okay, I've lined up my dinosaur pocket, and I'm also going to take my handle piece and place that over the top. Now with the pocket, it's up to you whether you want to have a few pocket sections in here. You may have a child that likes to draw or colour in, so you might want to have a small section for the child to put crayons or markers and perhaps a colouring book, or they might even have a couple of different size books that they want to put in here. I am going to put a divider pocket in. I'm not going to do it right down the centre though, just in case the child has a big book. At least they'll be able to turn the book around if they need to. So it really doesn't matter where you make a line. The centre of 19 inches is obviously 8.5 inches. I'm just going to come in about 7 inches. I'm just going to make a mark 7 inches from one edge. And don't forget, we've got 1/2 inch seam allowance, so this will make a 6.5 inch opening, and this one will be 1/2 inch less on this side. So I've just drawn a line in here. I'm going to quickly take this to the machine and just stitch that line down, and I'll back stitch at the top here just to make sure it's nice and secure and all the way down. And for the handle, we'll find the centre at the top. This is just going to be a handle for the reading pillow, and you can place it anywhere you like along here. We've got the centre there, and it really doesn't matter where you put this. Remember that I'm not the one that's going to be carrying this. A child will, so they've got little hands, so you don't need to have too much height in your handle. That's why it's only a 10-inch piece. So I'm starting my handle 1.5 inches from the centre on either side. So I've got 1.5 inches just there. The handle's nice and straight, and when the child is carrying it, they've got a little handle just there. We'll take this to the machine and sew the handle and this pocket, and what we will also do is take the remaining 2 pieces, place those over the top of each other in the preference that you want. This folded edge here and this folded edge here is where the opening is on the back of our cushion. Lay the 2 pieces in the orientation that you want them in, and with one side on the bottom, take the other one and place that over the top, and we're going to overlap the 2 pieces until it measures 19 inches from the top to the bottom. Measure from the very top there. We want this piece now to finish at the same size that the front is. So just keep manipulating the fabric up until it's the measurement that we need, in which this case 19 inches. So we can pin the centre when we know that's right. Come out to the outside edge and measure from the top to the bottom, and just make sure you've got 19 inches from the top to bottom. Measure this side as well. So what we've got now is a square piece of fabric that's 19 inches across and 19 inches down. Flip this over and you can see there's quite a bit of an overlap on the other side. Okay, we want that because we want the cushion to sit really nicely on the wrong side. The bulk of the insert has a tendency to push the fabric apart, so by having a good amount of excess fabric in here, will help the overlap sit nicely. We'll go back to the machine and we'll sew this overlap in place just 1/4 inch from the edge on either side, and we will also, on this flap just here where the stitching line is, from either side of the fabric, now we're going to come across 2 inches. So we'll stitch along 2 inches, come up and then come back down again, and that will actually secure this folded section in place, and we'll do that on both sides. We're going to sew a rectangle in at 2 inches on both sides, and that will also help this flap to stay in place better without the seams coming apart. Let's go back to the machine with all of this. The first thing we're going to do is sew these handles down. I'm only going to come down 1/4 inch and sew both of those in place. Then with my pocket piece pinned to my main, I'm going to stitch straight down that line with a back stitch at the top, and I'll reinforce that with a couple of extra stitches as well. At the very top edge of the hemmed fabric, I'm going to come in 2 inches. Turn my work, then come down to the hemline, turn my work around, and then continue along that stitching line. And just come to about 1/4 inch from the edge, and then go and secure the 2 layers of fabric together, just to stop it from flapping about, and repeat the same on the other side. And come down the side. Okay, all the bits that need to be sewn down have been done. We've got our pocket in place here, handle is in place, and we've closed up the back section. So there's your opening there. We've got a couple of inches on either side, and that's been reinforced with a rectangle. Take the front section of your pillow. We'll place that right side up, and we'll take the back section. And if you're using a directional fabric, make sure you've got the orientation going the right way. We don't want our dinosaurs upside down. I've got the opening along here and my dinosaurs facing in the right direction. Flip that around and line up all the layers. I've got everything clipped together all the way around. We don't need to leave an opening anywhere because we've got an opening here for turning through. So we've got all the layers in the correct spot. We can take this to the machine and sew all the way around all 4 edges. Now, the areas where we have stress points, which are the handles and the sections where the fabric overlaps, I'm going to triple stitch that, and I usually start in that area anyway. So this area here where I've got the fabric overlapping, I'll back stitch here, and where the handles are, I'll also back stitch up there as well. And the rest of it, I'll just sew all the way around. And if you want to have a really neat finish, you can actually take this to your overlocker or serger and then just go and overlock all of the edges all the way around, just to give it a really nice, neat finish. And remember, we're doing a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around now, because we want our cushion to fit nice and snugly inside. With that sewn down all the way around, we can go and clip our corners. So if you want to go and overlock this, you can do that now. Clip your corners and then go and overlock the edges to make them nice and neat. And then we can turn it the right way around. Okay, there we go, all finished. The edges have been neatened up with the overlocker, and we can turn this the right way around. This is the back section of your pillow cover, so we've got the opening here. All we need to do now is get our cushion in there. And at the front, we've got our cute little dinosaur pocket to put our books and pencils in. Now it's time to see it all fit together. This is just an old cushion that's come out of somebody's house, and I'm not even going to take the cover off. Quite often I'll leave those on, and we can just stuff the cushion in there, fold the corners into the other side. These are so much easier when you don't have zips to put in. So there we have it. This is the back of the cushion. You've got this pocket in the centre here with quite a good overlap. It's going to make sure that you don't have a gape in the fabric along the side there. Having it stitched in on the sides there helps reinforce everything as well. And if you have a look around on the other side, there we have a really cute little dinosaur pocket. And I don't think I've even got a child's book in this room. What have we got? So I have a tablet. The reading pillow will easily hold an iPad like that. And let's check out this book, Sewing with Serges. And I can even fit that in the side as well. So I don't think my grandkids are going to appreciate this book. They'll probably like this, although the technology in this iPad number 1 is a little bit outdated. But you get the idea. There's plenty of room in here for a child's book, a reader, and you can even put their glasses in there, or a few pens and pencils if they like to colour in. This is a fantastic cushion to use in your own living room as well. You can easily go and make this with some really nice decor fabric, put a couple of pockets in there. You can put this in the middle of your couch and have your remote controls in there. You can have your glasses in there so that you can easily find all the things that you need to have. So there it is, a reading pillow or a knick-knack pillow for the kids, the grandkids, even for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now. Rawr.